evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? So, Bethesda's E3 conference for 2019 has been and gone, and there's a huge amount to cover in here. There's a lot of very, very cool things happening this year, both for existing games and new games, and in subsequent years as well for future things Bethesda have lined up for us. So, we've got a lot of things to cover today. Before I jump into that, if you haven't seen it already, Gaming for XP very kindly invited me for a conversation regarding all things YouTube, and that little interview has just gone live as of yesterday. So if you haven't checked that out, I'll put a link down in the description. Do head on over there, have a listen, and show Gaming for XP a little bit of love while you're there. So, first thing I want to touch on regarding Bethesda's conference is, as you can probably imagine, the online negativity machine is in full swing, and there's a lot of crap floating around out there, frankly, regarding it. There's a lot of people saying, oh, it's a disappointment, and they should have spoken about Starfield or The Elder Scrolls 6 more, and that there was nothing interesting, but I strongly recommend utterly disregarding those observations, because it's a combination of people who have not done their homework and expecting things that were never going to happen, and the same old crowd who just want to crap on Bethesda. So for those who are around this channel and therefore more likely to be a little bit more positive and balanced in their outlook, I strongly suggest ignoring that and seeing for yourself what Bethesda have to offer. Of course, I'll put a link down in the description to the full VOD of the stream for the conference, so you can see the whole thing yourself if you haven't already. Let's open up with the major reason we're most here, or major reason most of us are here, rather. That's Fallout 76. So, as we know, Fallout 76 has had a few issues this year. And as most of us already know as well, it's come on a very, very long way. The game is in a wonderful place compared to where it was a year ago, 7 months ago, and is only looking to get stronger and stronger. Todd Howard made an appearance on stage at E3 last night, and he did acknowledge the issues the game's had and thanked everybody for their continuing support, so that's nice to hear. And did pitch up the awesome things that are coming over the next few months, and also the amount of improvement the game has had, which, to be fair, it has, and it's come on a long way. It's good to see him acknowledging those issues and holding his hands up, which he's done a couple of times in recent weeks, which is fair, to be honest. And yeah, good to see that he's being straight about it and saying, look, okay, so we've had issues, we're coming on, we're working on it, and we're going to keep on doing it. So, a good foundation for the new content to come, I think, there. So the other big thing to mention before we jump into the fine details of what those things are, is that if you haven't played the game already and you're wondering what it's all about or whether or not it's actually any good and if it has improved, Bethesda are running a free trial this week of Fallout 76. You can download the game, jump in and play it for absolutely free between the 10th and the 17th of June. The game's not going free to play in any serious way beyond that, but if you want to try it out, that's a free opportunity to do so, and you can make your mind up having actually played the game. So that's very, very cool. And given everything that's coming, I think it's well worth a look if you haven't already. So what is coming? Well, the first thing they showed us is the new Wastelanders DLC or expansion or update, whatever way you want to look at it. And that is actually the second thing that's going to arrive. It's coming in the autumn this year. And my god, they've been saying for a while that this is going to change the game in a really big way, and they were not wrong. One of the big controversies, the no NPCs, that's going to change. There are NPCs arriving in Appalachia as of the autumn with Wastelanders, and that is huge. Personally, I've thoroughly enjoyed the game, NPCs or no, but the arrival of NPCs, presumably from outside, so it looks like most of them are coming from outside Appalachia, is going to totally shift the dynamic of the game, and it's going to be a really, really big difference and really, really cool to get stuck into. Bringing new quest lines, new rewards, new gear, new items, and a whole set of dialogue trees, full dialogue. Obviously, I don't think your player character is going to be voiced, but everybody else looks like they will be, so it's looking very, very cool. They seem to be moving the game forward in time a little bit, so as it is, it's currently, 21 years after the bombs fell, and Reclamation Day basically is every day we play the game. But this will move the game on what would appear to be about a year into the future, and rumours of the goings-on in Fallout 76's first years have started to spread out across the wasteland, the ruins of the former USA. And people are coming to see what's going on in Appalachia and claim a piece of it for themselves, especially given the successes of the Vault Dwellers in defeating the Scorched Beast Queen and beginning to rebuild Appalachia. So it's attracting new people to come to the area. And unfortunately, along with that, new raider factions as well from the look of things. Not everybody coming into Appalachia is nice. So we'll have a choice as to how we're going to play this. We can play either the good guy, a bit more traditional Fallout, or we can go more towards a raider direction from the sound of it. And possibly other things as well. We don't really know. But there's a huge amount coming with this and a huge amount of new stuff, and it's going to, as they said, fundamentally change the game. And I think a lot of people are going to be very excited for that. I personally absolutely love the way they've done this. They're bringing choices and consequence to your choices back. These new NPCs are coming in some form of factions as well, and they will be setting up communities and settlements and bases and camps, and a lot of those look like they're going to be in existing locations. We see some of the farms that are around the map as it currently is. People are settling in those, shoring up existing buildings, and basically doing what you'd expect people to do as they arrive and start to try and carve out a new life in the location. And also you get like raider groups who are taking on existing locations as well and turning those into larger settlements, be it raider style camps and more traditional NPC style settlements. We see the crashed space station up in the Toxic Valley. That's going to become a whole new settlement. It looks very, very cool. So that'll be interesting to see. We've got new mechanics coming in. We see somebody in the trailer panning for gold, or it looks like they're doing. So that's going to be quite interesting to see how that goes. And a lot of new gear, new weapons. They seem to be putting bows in. Yes, there's a build I want to do along those lines, so I'm really happy about that. So that'll be very, very cool. I think I'll be postponing that idea a little bit further back, because I want to embrace that, definitely. So we're getting new creatures as well. There's definitely a new, very ugly-looking cryptid in the trailer, so we'll have to see how that works out. That's going to be interesting. New beasties to fight should be fun. So as I say, I'm absolutely loving the way they've tackled the arrival of NPCs in the game. There's the obvious question, however, is this a reaction to the player feedback? Is it, all the backlash against no NPCs that came from the initial announcement of the game this time last year? Or is it something they've been planning to do all along? So obviously I don't think we're going to get an answer one way or the other on that. I don't think they'll ever come out and say it was a reaction to you guys or we were going to do this all along. And if they say all along, well, some people won't believe it anyway. So, but I don't actually find that idea particularly hard to believe. They've been talking about the idea that year one, which, from day one in the announcement, they were saying this is a game that's going to last a long time. They're planning on supporting it for a long time. So a long-term overarching story kind of makes sense as part of that. They've been saying year one is intended to be the Vault Dwellers' first arrival in Appalachia, the emerging from the Vault, and that experience. And year two moves things on a little bit, and the world moves on a little bit, the game moves on, and people start arriving back again. So the developing world, which is very, very cool. Regarding the game's future, I think this is going to be quite a big thing. I think the return, the introduction, however you want to look at it, of NPCs will attract people who've been previously put off. Maybe some people who hadn't actually played the game since launch back. And I think it's going to create an interesting kind of dichotomy in the player group. Not in a negative way or anything like that, but I think you'll get those of us who are probably here now who have experienced the first year, that empty wasteland, the just post-nuclear, nobody's around experience that we've all had for the last year. And then you get the returning players who will be, in a way, more like the Wastelanders who are entering in as NPCs, in that they won't have that same experience, and they'll just get the game and pick it up from where it's coming from now, which means it'll be people who are like the old school, the old guard, will know what it used to be like, and others will be coming in and adding to that population, both in the form of the NPCs, of course, and in new players as well. So I suspect it's going to be the way this is going to go. So it'll be quite an interesting place to have conversations about our experiences in Fallout 76 as well, which is obviously a community side to the new update, which will be really, really cool to engage with, I think. So a lot to look forward there. So the other big DLC point for this year that's part of the 2019 roadmap is Nuclear Winter, and as I'm sure you guys have heard by now, the core point of that, aside from the Vault raids, which we haven't actually seen much of, is a brand new game mode. Nuclear Winter will be a 52-player Battle Royale in Fallout 76. Now, before everybody panics, I actually think this could work. Admittedly, it could also be a disaster, but if they've approached it from the right point of view and they've done the homework, which I imagine Bethesda will have done, there's actually potential here for a really fascinating Battle Royale mode. It's a separate game mode, so you'll be selecting it from the game's main menu, so you're not going to be forced into it, which is always a good thing. And I know not everybody's into PvP, generally I'm not, but in the past, the one area of PvP I have enjoyed in other games is Battle Royales. I used to be quite the big PUBG player, haven't played in a while, but I enjoyed it a lot. And the take Bethesda have gone for with Fallout 76's Nuclear Winter Battle Royale is really quite interesting. They're taking basically everything that is Fallout 76 now and Fallout in general. That's your character builds, perk cards, different styles, the existing game map, creatures, super mutants, monsters, cryptids, scorch beasts, adding it all into a Battle Royale mode, which is going to be interesting and probably quite chaotic. And oh yeah, nukes are still in there and all. That's going to be interesting. So, for obvious reasons, that could seem like an issue. If the core point that makes Battle Royale so popular and makes it work so well, certainly in my opinion, is that everybody has a level playing field when you start. And if there are perks in there, if there are unique rewards to be gained from it, then there's an obvious concern there as to whether or not that level playing field is going to exist. Personally, I suspect what they're going to do is perks you earn, gear, XP, because you earn XP in this Battle Royale mode as well. All that stuff will transfer out to your adventure mode, survival mode characters, but I don't suppose it will go the other way, because that's not really the way Battle Royale works. Or it certainly doesn't traditionally, and it wouldn't make any sense for them to change that particular factor. So, if my theory there is correct, then it should be a very, very unique Battle Royale experience, which is quite cool, and I will definitely be trying it out. The other big thing is, alongside the free trial, this is going live today. It is already live now, so you guys may even know something I don't, because I haven't had the opportunity to play it yet. That'll probably be Wednesday. Looking back at the combat changes that they announced last week in the Inside the Vault blog post, my bet is a lot of that is geared up towards setting up Nuclear Winter's Battle Royale. I'm kind of surprised I haven't seen anything yet about patch notes, but we'll see, I guess. They've made combat a little bit more fluid and a little bit more natural. Transitions from reloading animations rather, and weapon changing and things like that can be interrupted, stuff like that. And that will allow for a much more Battle Royale friendly functionality to the combat, which is one of the big issues potentially surrounding this. Obviously, Fallout 76's combat is geared towards, or originates from combat geared towards PvE. Transferring that to a BR is a little concerning. I'm not 100% sure on whether or not that's going to work, but maybe it will. So, as I say, these changes are obviously geared towards that, and I think that'll certainly smooth that transition a bit more. My other big question is VATS. To my mind, VATS in a Battle Royale are completely incompatible. But whether or not it'll be there or not, I just don't know. We didn't see anything of it in the trailer. And I could see them including it or trying to find a way to include it, but who knows. It'll be interesting to see how that works and whether or not it ends up being hideously overpowered and damaging the game mode, or whether or not it just works. We know how that goes. So, I think the big thing is Bethesda are, as per usual, doing their own thing with this. So like, right, previously they said, yeah, we don't really want to make a Battle Royale, and yet here they are doing that, but they're clearly doing Fallout Battle Royale. They're doing Bethesda's take. They're doing it their own way. And it makes it more interesting for them, and I think it's going to make it very, very interesting, and more interesting to Fallout players, because it'll embrace that element of Fallout and put an interesting twist on pitting player against player. You can also build camps in this, in a Battle Royale mode, which is kind of Fortnite, I suppose, but will be absolutely nothing like Fortnite, I have no doubts. I'm curious as to exactly what's going to happen if you're in the building menu and somebody starts shooting at you. Probably nothing good, but it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Again, there's a lot of questions to be asked here, but a lot of potential for this to be a huge amount of fun. So, we'll have to dive in, see what happens. It'll be something I'll definitely be checking out on stream. And you never know, we might set up some squads or duos or something like that. It might be fun. A couple of speculative things that I've drawn from the hints they've already dropped in Fallout 76 regarding nuclear winter being on the horizon and the little teasers that they've put into the game already. We've seen Vault 51 Overseer. His corpse is in the game, and there's a couple of mystery boxes that relate to it. And there's references in there to the Overseer sort of teleporting out. So my guess is you'll select your game mode from the main menu, then you'll have the same choice of perk cards everybody else has, and you'll create a build from those. Once you've built your character the way you want, you'll load into a lobby, which is the same as every Battle Royale does it, which I'm guessing will be inside Vault 51. Based on the amount of footage of the inside of it that we had in the trailer, that will be my hunch. And then once everybody's in and there's enough players, getting close to that 52 mark, timer will start. You'll pick where you want to spawn on the map, I would imagine. And if you don't pick, I would imagine it'll pick for you. And then you'll teleport there, probably in a box. That's my guess. So we'll see when we actually jump in. I haven't done that yet. Maybe you guys have. But that's my guess on how that'll function. And then you'll start with probably nothing but a vault suit, and you'll have to search for gear, and then fight to the death, try and survive the monsters, etc, the way Battle Royale usually works. So, we can get our first look alongside the free trial this week, as I said. Who knows when it's going to be fully live, or whether or not this is going to be a temporary thing just for this week. It's possible they might run it as a beta, and then take it off, relaunch it, and, tweak it and adjust it. But it looks like a very, very cool concept, so it'll be fun to try out, so Wednesday night, watch this space, let's see what happens. So that's the big stuff for Fallout 76 as it currently stands, and it's pretty huge. And as we're taking quite a while at this stage, I'm going to push on and talk about a few little other bits and pieces that are also cropped up during the conference, and we'll have a few honourable mentions at the end. A couple of things that didn't appear. As I predicted, no Starfield and no Elder Scrolls 6. As Bethesda said last year, it's a very long wait, everybody should be very, very patient, and they've said more recently again. Looks like I don't have to, as I said, I didn't think it was going to happen, it didn't happen. Todd Howard did mention them, but we didn't get anything to actually latch onto, not even so much as a logo, so they just reminded us that they are working on it, and it will come when it comes. Which, as I say, my current guess still sits at 2021 for Starfield, and probably 2024 for the Elder Scrolls 6. I haven't seen anything so far that makes me change that particular opinion. It fits in with their general development cycle, and it explains why Bethesda is not showing us anything. So I would imagine next year will be another similarly quiet, relatively quiet E3 year, much like this one was. It's not as big as say last year was, with a lot of big game launches. But 2021 is likely to be a humongous year. So, the other stuff that was in the conference, a lot of developers under the Bethesda umbrella, all of them working on interesting things, some more up my alley than others. First one that caught my eye is Ghostwire Tokyo. That's from Tango Gameworks, and kind of stole the show a little bit with their creative director, I think she is, who introduced the game. But I'll leave that for you to find out about. It's going to be a spooky, supernatural action-adventure mystery type game. Set in Tokyo, we've got people disappearing, and there's spirits and ghosts and good things and bad things in that area, and lots of weirdness going on. And it looks very, very interesting. It looks very, very pretty from the trailer. Probably would do. The Japanese Tokyo influence, obviously very, very strong. Kind of a given that it's set in Tokyo. But it looks like a very, very interesting game. I'm definitely going to be following the development of this quite closely. I think we could have quite a bit of fun with this. It's going to be an interesting balance between the combat against spirits and possibly possessed people. Who knows? We'll see. And the mystery. The trailer's interesting and worth a look. I'd definitely recommend taking a look. We haven't got a release date yet. So I think that was probably a way off. It's just an early announcement. But looks like it's got a lot of potential to be an intriguing game. So yeah, that one definitely caught my eye. Elder Scrolls Online had a very big segment, not too surprisingly. It's been at E3 every year since Bethesda started having conferences. It got quite the reaction on the night. The crowd seemed very, very much into that, which is cool. They've just launched their Elsewhere expansion, bringing the Year of the Dragon into Elder Scrolls Online, which looks pretty cool. And They've got 2 more DLCs coming out this year. There's Scalebreaker, which is a dungeon-themed, dungeon-orientated DLC that's coming out in August. And the next and final major beat for Year of the Dragon is Dragonhold, which is coming out in Q4. Not sure how I feel about Elder Scrolls Online, haven't played it yet. MMOs have been mostly miss with the occasional little bit of hit for me. So Elder Scrolls does look fun though, so I may check it out eventually. Maybe, who knows, we might stream some at some point. But it looks like that game is thriving at the minute. Another online game from Bethesda that had a rocky start and has grown and grown and grown into something that's been pretty damn successful from what I understand, from what Bethesda have said, and from having done a little research myself. The game is doing rather well. So yeah, that might be worth a look if you're into getting an Elder Scrolls fix until the Elder Scrolls 6 comes along. Might be worth checking that out, because from what I understand it works quite well for the single player as well, so that's cool. So, Rage 2, obviously that came out a couple of weeks back now. I've had a lot of fun playing that on stream. It's interesting, it's fun, and absolutely chaotic madness. Doom-style combat, big open wasteland, vehicle combat, a lot of fun. You've got a main DLC coming out towards the end of the summer, I believe. That's Rise of the Ghosts. And they're also bringing out new weapons, new vehicles, pilotable mechs, which should be fun. And new abilities and new areas to explore alongside that DLC, I would imagine. So more of the same, and more madness, chaos, and expansion to the map coming over the next few months. So if you haven't dropped in on the streams to check that one out, then we should have a few more lined up before we get to the end of the game as it currently is. And we'll check out the DLC when that comes out as well. So that should be well worth a look and a lot of fun. So as I say, drop in on the streams if you haven't so far. They're great, great fun. Something else I'm interested in that I don't actually know all that much about from Bethesda is Wolfenstein Youngblood. So Wolfenstein is Machine Games' Nazi-killing first-person shooter. It's been around for quite some time. It's been kind of reborn in the last few years. And the follow-up to Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, is coming out over the summer. There's a VR game as well coming out, but not having a VR set, I won't be playing that. But it's got optional co-op and is set in the 1980s in Paris, so in Nazi-occupied Paris, and in the Wolfenstein world. And the twin daughters of B.J. Blazkowicz, the previous hero, are hunting for their missing father. And it looks really polished, really cool, and like a lot of fun, so I'll have to investigate Wolfenstein a bit further, I think. Maybe play New Colossus at some point, we'll see. Something I definitely need to find out more about. It looks like it's going to be good fun. But yeah, if you like shooters, the FPS style of gameplay, or the shooting style of gameplay that Bethesda do, it might be well worth a look. Along with Rage 2 if you haven't already. Which brings us on to Bethesda's biggest shooter title. And that being from id Software, the origin of the FPS series, Doom, with Doom Eternal. So Doom 2016 rebooted the franchise and brought it back to life in sort of modern technology terms. And it was great, great fun. Lots of flying around, destroying demons, and generally brutal combat. And it was great. I enjoyed it. I played that one on the PS4 back just before I started this channel, actually. And we'll probably pick it up again between now and November, which is when Doom Eternal drops. And it looks like it's going to be more of the same, just much bigger. Even more epic scale. It captures, in my mind, the spirit of an old-fashioned arcade shooter. It's got a real arcadey vibe. It reminded me a lot of Quake, actually. That's sort of the footage I've seen of Quake anyway in recent years. Not something I've played very much of, but sort of the art style a little bit, and the open areas and the traversal, things like that look really, really cool. And yeah, they remind me a little bit of that, so that should be very, very cool. The game's going to go to absolutely tons more new locations. It's the big announcement for this particular E3 conference. And apparently the scale is taking it obviously on Earth as it falls to demonic capture, demonic possession, you know, the hell on Earth concept. The game's also going to take you to heaven. Okay, bit offbeat for a Doom game, but that could be interesting to see what Doom's take on heaven is. And the origin world of the Sentinels, which I don't know that much about. It's where my lore around Doom falls down a little bit. But that and other things should make the game a lot of fun, very interesting to explore, and it looks like it will be huge chaotic fun. So I think that should be fun to play. Definitely going to keep an eye out for that. They're doing another collector's edition with that one, and once again it's a helmet. So let's hope there's no bags, but that should be it looks pretty stunning. A wearable Doom Marine helmet, so that should be quite cool. Don't think I'll be getting it myself, but for those who are interested in that sort of thing, that should be fun. They're also introducing a new multiplayer mode, which is called Battle Mode. It's where 2 players take control of demons to take down the Doomslayer. I'm not entirely sure whether or not that means the Doomslayer is going to be AI controlled or a third player. It wasn't really very clear, but it looks like it'll be fun. There's a vast range of demons available apparently, and they have different skills, different movement styles, different abilities, so it's a very tactical multiplayer style combat in the Doom world where it turns the whole thing on its head and you try and, as I say, play a demon and take down the Doomslayer, which is an interesting idea. It looks quite cool. Not sure it'll be my cup of tea. I think it'll be more focused on the campaign mode, but yeah, cool if you're into that sort of thing. And as you can imagine, the game looks pretty darn stunning, so id Software doing what they do, which is very, very cool. So something to watch out for, I think, as well. So that basically covers most of Bethesda's conference. There's a couple of honourable mentions I'd like to drop in here from other conferences as well. We had EA on Saturday, and the big game for me at least that they were showing more of was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. It's a canon Star Wars game, so it's going to fit in alongside the movies, which is very, very cool, and it's an action adventure. So it's slightly reminiscent of The Force Unleashed, but without that game's shortcomings, I seriously hope. It looks like it's going to overcome them. It's third person, Jedi, action-based, but not so ridiculously overdone with the Force powers and the Starkiller being stupidly overpowered. So it looks a bit more balanced than that, which is cool. It's set after Episode 3, between the two, the prequel and the original trilogy. The Jedi Order has been decimated, and you play a Jedi Padawan who has escaped Order 66 and is trying to rebuild the Jedi Order. So I can't imagine that's going to go particularly well, given what we know about the lore. But it's also bringing in other characters from that period of time. So Saw Gerrera is in there that we've seen, and there'll probably be others as well. There's new types of enemies, new types of Stormtrooper. It looks like it's going to be really cool. Respawn, who are developing the game, also the developers of Apex Legends, interestingly, but okay. Have said that it's going to be more thoughtful style of combat. So it's already drawing comparisons to Dark Souls in that regard. And it's tactical, movement based, you avoid getting hit and then attack once opportunities present themselves, that sort of thing. Looks like it's going to be very, very cool. And looks like it's embracing the spirit of an action-adventure Fallout game? Star Wars game, what game am I talking about? Very, very well. So I'm looking forward to playing that one. That's 15th of November, so do keep an eye out for that on the channel. I think I'll be streaming that. That'll be good fun. One of the big announcements everybody knew was coming, everybody was looking for, is more on Cyberpunk 2077. So, for those who don't know, it's a dystopian RPG set in a cyberpunk world, set in Night City. Lots of neon, lots of high-rises, lots of corporate greed and control, and human augmentation seems to have gone absolutely crazy. My actual lore-based knowledge is somewhat limited, which is kind of limiting my hype a little bit, despite the fact that there is a huge amount of general hype for it. It's the latest game from CD Projekt Red, who are behind the Witcher series, so no wonder there's a lot of hype for it. But it looks very, very cool. It looks like a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to trying that out. Matt Green Shows kindly said, here's a video to go and watch if you want to find out more and actually learn that a bit more about the lore, so I will be watching that a lot. If you haven't already done your investigation into that and are interested in finding out a bit more about it, head over to her channel, because she's got an absolute ton of content on it. So I'll be deep diving into some of that between now and the 16th of April. They finally announced the release date, so I know that's been pushed back a few times because I want to take the time to get it right, and hopefully CD Projekt Red will pull that off. It looks very, very cool. So, it's also had Keanu Reeves announcing it, or involved in the announcement of it, and from the sound of it, he's playing a character in the game as well, which is very, very cool. The man of the hour with the whole John Wick thing going on as well, so it should be a lot of fun. And a little bit of a curveball on this one for the last game I want to talk about today, and that is Baldur's Gate 3 was announced at the back end of last week, just ahead of its being shown tonight, I believe, at the PC Gaming Show. And for those who don't know, Baldur's Gate 2 came out in 2001, the original came out in 1999, I believe, and to this day it remains one of, if not the best game I've ever played. It's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, obviously the graphics are a bit dated, but the gameplay is deep, involved, choices matter, there's huge role-playing possibilities, the world is pretty big for a game of its era as well, and it's really, really cool. So it's my absolute favourite game of all time, Baldur's Gate 2, so seeing a Baldur's Gate 3 coming is 90% hell yes, 10% please don't mess this up, you know? So I'm very, very excited for that. That's very, very cool. It's being developed by Larian Studios, who are the team behind Divinity Original Sin, which is two of the best games, I think, in that kind of top-down RPG style in recent years. There have been a few games in that area come out lately, but Divinity Original Sin has absolutely nailed it. So good, strong start there in choice of the developers, and I'm looking forward to seeing more about that this evening. Can't wait to find out about that. The trailer for it is hideous and terrifying, and yeah, really, really cool. It looks like it should be cool. As I understand it, the game moves forward quite a long time from where its predecessors were. So the Baalspawn saga that was Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 is ancient history in a way. A new set of trials and tribulations are going to be thrown at the Sword Coast, presumably. The setting for the Baldur's Gate series in the new game, so looking forward to that. Looks like the Illithids, the Mind Flayers, are going to be a big, big part of it, which is cool. So yeah, definitely looking forward to finding out more about that, and that's almost certainly going to make an appearance, because it's kind of astounding at this stage I haven't played Baldur's Gate 2 already. On the channel, of course. So, not the biggest year at E3 ever, but nonetheless, a lot lined up for this year and even more coming in future, and I think the future of gaming and gaming on this channel, certainly around the Bethesda area, and a few honourable mentions outside it as well, look really, really cool. So I think we've got a lot to sink our teeth into over the next year or so in particular and beyond. And of course Starfield, Elder Scrolls 6 way off in the future as well, and whatever they do for Fallout 76 in year 2.5 and 3. So much, much more to come in the future. So interested to hear what you guys think about things and what you're looking forward to, how you're feeling about things. And let me know if you've tried out Nuclear Winter already, because it'll be Wednesday before I get my hands on it. So hopefully it's going to be a lot of good fun. I do hope you'll tune in for that. For now, I'm going to stop talking because I've been rambling for quite some time yet again. E3 does get me talking, apparently. So, as always, social media links should be popping up around about now, and they're down in the description if you haven't already. And you'll find links to Bethesda's conference down there as well. If you haven't already, go check out that interview that I did with G4. That was a lot of fun to have a really nice chat about all things YouTube. So, do head on over there. I'll put a link to that down in the description as well. Go and say hi to him. And as always, if you haven't, drop in on one of the streams as well. We're going to have a lot of fun over the next few months. A lot of fun. For now, thank you very much for watching. Do hit those buttons for me. It's always very, very much appreciated. And if you really like what we do here, maybe consider hitting that join button as well. That is hugely welcome and appreciated. For now, I'll say thank you very much. And I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.